right. Good evening, everybody. Let's do a brief sound and audio check. How's everybody's going? How's everybody going? How's everybody's Monday? Start of Tuesday trading has just began. Let's see. Sounds good. Looks good. It's always a win. Sometimes you just take the small things for granted, and that is just everything working smoothly. Good evening. Man. Yeah, I'm seeing that too. Everyone's hopping in here, making the comments, probably because of the teaser that I have been saying. And I'm going to continue to talk about it throughout the evening and throughout this week because it's really special in terms of what I'm going to be doing in the private session. And like I said, still a little bit more details to be ironed out. Let's get started. Now, welcome to Slow Markets, everybody. I'm Coach Dakota, Coach DBA. As always, we're going to be starting out with the Topstep risk disclosure in the YouTube chat. This is not a signals class. We all know that, but all the new traders here, might not. So everything we talk about tonight is for educational purposes. Everything we talk about every single night is for education and to help everybody and to ask questions. And by the way, that being said, a big shout out to 8 Mile Style in our Discord. This evening, he posted in the Topstep Discord in my channel that he is now a live funded trader. So I love seeing that. I take zero credit for it, and that's something, it's a beautiful thing. And it looks like what we're doing here is working for whatever reason. So hopefully I was able to help in some type of a way. I love seeing that, and that is true proof where traders do not need to sit here in a class for a signal. And I think I've seen them in slow markets a lot of the nights. I was going to say every single night, but I don't know if it's every single night, but the majority of the nights I have seen them here in slow markets. So big shout out to them. If you guys post, I don't mind sharing live. We need to celebrate the wins just as much as we go through and try and find out what we did wrong on the losses. So big shout out there. I'm going to try and be more active in the Discord, the Topstep Discord in my channel. And then I have a question for everybody here. What the heck do you post on Twitter or Topstep X? No, not Topstep. Just X. What do people post? What would you guys want to see from me? And what would be your guys' recommendations of what you'd want to see? Maybe asking the YouTube chat is not the right. Maybe I should have never asked the YouTube chat there. Market updates, trading psychology, nothing for me. Your DoorDash dinner. I'm not going to be, I don't know. I started the Twitter and I have not posted anything because I'm not a social media, but my overall goal is to help. It really is to help. And I'm going to be looking for everybody's guidance when it comes to that. Because there's a lot of trash out there. There's a ton of trash on Twitter, and I don't want to be just adding to it. I don't want to be adding to the spam and everything anything else that's coming throughout the evening. Heck, I have not posted anything at all, but I'm sure you guys could probably find me somehow. I don't even know how to post myself on the link yet. But yeah, I really want to cater to everybody here. I want to see if that could be another platform to help, clear things and have a more professional trading environment. And a lot more professionalism needs to be added to Twitter, as long as, from what I see, guys, it's a mess. You have, people that have influence just causing drama in this industry, lots of negativity. And so I'm really trying to see what I can do to help out in terms of that. Now, that being said, let's get started. Let's talk about these markets. Let's dive into these markets and do our regular rapid fire. So we'll go through the NASDAQ, crude oil, Nikkei, and then gold. Maybe we'll touch base on a few other markets that if we do have time. I'm going to be looking for trade setups, going to be talking about trades, answering some questions, and then maybe we could finish it off with some what do we call it? Trader reviews, like statistics. I love talking statistics, and I'm always open for any recommendations. If you guys want to see something during slow markets class, I'm always open to it. But here we go. Let's get started. This is a daily chart on the NASDAQ that I start with, and take a look. We had a very bullish day today that came to a bit of a surprise on my end. I wasn't expecting a very big move, especially during a holiday. It was a holiday today. And yeah, sure enough, from the low of 390 all the way up to 680. There was quite the move for a holiday. Low liquidity, so maybe that added to it where it was easier to push the markets. I don't know. All I know is we did break out to the long side. We had 2 days of consolidation. We broke out. We cleared September 26th high, and so I can officially be okay with saying that this is a higher low that I've been watching, right? We talked about this, higher low, looking for a higher high, and now we are up here in the 600s. Right around this zone. This was a key area around these 630, 640s. So 630s. I got caught in a short today. If you guys imagine that. I was caught into a short, but then I ended up trading it really, really well in my XFAs. I made over 22,000 in my XFAs, but I lost 2,600 in my live account, which to me, my live account's more important than the XFAs. So to me, I don't look at it as a net gain. I'm just looking at it as, man, I lost $2,600 in my live account, regardless of the money I've made in my XFAs. But yeah, this is what I was looking at as we started to get close to 600. This is the area on why I was looking to take a short scalp. I know Nick for a tick. Shout out to him. He was seeing the same thing. And yeah, we was a little bit too early to the party. And if we zoom into an hourly chart, I'll show you what I was looking at, and I'll show you why I was looking at it today during fast markets. So on the hourly chart, you can see whenever we do get a nice rally here, let's take a look. I like to measure these moves. And, Coach Jay can confirm how weird sometimes this is when it comes to how accurate it is. It's not perfect, right? It's not a science. Everything is in the zones. But take a look at this. When we get these nice rallies, depending on how you want to measure them and how far back you want to measure them and the way that you measure them, I was just looking at something like this. I do this all the time, and I take this into consideration, and this says, when we do rally, this is about, on average, how much we move. And then I kind of take an average of that, and then when we're starting to rally, I look at that and I say, okay, well, that's realistic. I see and I understand that. And so it's within a realistic and reasonable expectation that we get a pullback based off of the average true move. So we did get that. I ended up getting short right around like 5. I don't know. It was, we'll have to zoom in. And then what I'll do is I'll zoom into a 5-minute chart. And this is where we was getting in short. I think it was here, actually. I think it was here. It was either here or there. It was one of these two, but was getting in short, got stopped out, got crushed, and then the market rallied all the way up to the 680s, 670s, and then we finally got that nice pullback, and then another technical pattern formed, and I absolutely love this one. If you guys watch the fast markets, we had the house account take it. We had another beautiful reversal, and Man, this one was a beautiful trade. We were up 100 points at one point in time. Down here at 527, we got in at 627. Nick was shorting here as well, and so it was really nice to have myself and Nick for a tick kind of in line with the way that we were seeing these markets. Had that nice sell-off, and sure enough, this was the area of resistance right here at 520s. Nice resistance. That's where we broke out. This resistance became support. I was kind of waiting to see if maybe we could have a deeper pullback, maybe into this zone closer to 500. But nope, we decided, the market decided, 520, 526 was going to be the area of support. This was resistance during the London session. That resistance became support. And from there, we've rallied up. We went right back up, tested these 660s. And now we're consolidating tonight. We're kind of still in a bull market, right? We're still going up and to the right. And so maybe we see something like we usually see in this market when we start to rally, and that's consolidation. Tomorrow, there's not much news tomorrow as well, and maybe it's more of the same, looking for, what do we call it? Looking for pullbacks to buy. So looking for pullbacks, looking to find opportunities to buy at support and resistance. I would really like to see if NASDAQ could get back down here into these lower 500 area to find buying opportunities. I'd like to be a buyer. Even though you guys know I suck at selling, you guys seen today, I was able to short the market. And I can make money on the short side. It's a lot easier for me to be a buyer than it is a seller. But yeah, I could see the NASDAQ maybe, this is very similar to how I was looking at it last night. Was looking maybe for a pullback, but no, this got stopped and started that nice strong move. So maybe we see something tonight, whether it's a deep pullback or if it's something where we pull back and then we start the rally. Interesting. It's definitely an interesting market with no news coming out. I think we just watch. I'm going to be another watch, someone that's sitting on my hands again. Maybe this is some type of a bullish flag, and then we're looking to push up. If we look at this higher time frame like the daily, then yeah, I could see if we do start to rally. The next area I see us going to is going to be right here in these 800s. So we've seen some resistance here, and I can see NASDAQ getting to 20,800s, this mid to upper 800s, closer to 900, because that's where resistance was again. If we can break through that, if we do have another higher high, then that is a very realistic spot that I'm going to be watching and looking for the NASDAQ to get to. On the inverse, on the opposite side, yeah, I do see if we come back down here towards this 500 that I was talking about earlier, then I could see this becoming, this was resistance. Maybe resistance can become support, and we've kind of just go up and to the right from there. We'll see. That's the way I'm looking at the NASDAQ. Let's go ahead. I'm going to be a little bit quick. Let's take a look at crude oil. So crude oil, this is a daily. Take a look at this. We have the low, right? And then let me get this set up. Okay, we have a higher low, and then we have this pivot, and now we made a higher high. So higher low, higher low, higher high, and so we're right back down here at this. This used to be resistance, and I want to see this become support again. I am bullish crude oil. I can see that there's a possibility if we have a pullback. However, there was some headlines that came out. Take a look at this on the hourly chart. There was some headlines. We had a big sell-off after the market closed, right at the market closed. I didn't see what it is. Does anybody in the chat know what this was for? Was this news? This has to be news related. Maybe I'm missing something. I'm currently in a Nikkei short. Yeah, I'll show you that. Here's my Nikkei short. I'll talk about that when we talk about the Nikkei, but we're talking about crude. China related, just Globex. This doesn't seem like it's just Globex. This feels like it's news related. Going from $74 a barrel down to below 72, most likely is news related. It was a protest. Israel not to attack. Yeah, there's headlines. So definitely headlines. Okay. So this might be a little more scarier than what I thought from a pure technical standpoint. Because if this breaks through, we can see a retest of these 60s, 69 to 68, maybe even 70s. Do we see $70 a barrel even? $70 a barrel is, I mean, there's a lot of support and resistance right there. So that could be a target to the downside. And looking at this now, you know, is this a lower high? And are we seeing this as maybe a double top if we do break this? It's going to be interesting to see. I would like to see a pullback first, maybe some type of, you know, maybe a run up to $73 a barrel, and then look for a continuation. I'm not sure. Oil's at an area where I would rather be a buyer than a seller. In terms of just a risk-reward standpoint, looking to buy this level with a relatively tight stop loss. The risk-reward is better to the long side. But yeah, it's hard to be a buyer of this market because that is one heck of a sell-off. We could easily say $70 a barrel really quick. I don't know. What do you guys think? NQ tanking? Ooh, let's take a look at my Nikkei trade. Yeah, there's Nikkei. This is in my live account. Take a look at Nikkei. Let's take a look. Let's do some analysis on the Nikkei. So I ended up taking a long last night in the Nikkei. You guys know this pattern I was looking at and looking to. So this was a flagging pattern. We broke out. I was actually looking for this only to test it, but oh my, we are running. We are starting to sell off. What is going? We are starting to sell off. This is a pretty decent sell off. I was only looking for us to test this 40,000 level, maybe 40,075. Let's see. I might decide to just get out of this one. I don't want to hold it for too long just because we broke out. I was only looking for a little bit of a pullback. But yeah, this was the flagging pattern that I was talking about last night. We did get that sell-off, and I ended up getting in long on a 3-bar reversal. So I ended up getting in long down here. I got in long at, I think it was 775. I got in long I think it was 2 or 3 contracts. My stop loss was below the pivot, so my stop loss was here, and I ended up closing it at 40,000. So I closed it for take profit at 40,000. Now, of course, I wish I would have held it throughout the day, but that was my trade last night. It was about a little bit better than a 1-to-1 risk reward. Now let's go through. I'm going to zoom in and I'll show you guys why I took this trade. So I was looking for a pullback. If we zoom into a 5-minute chart, this is what I was looking for. So we had that nice sell-off. Then we got the pullback. So here we got the pullback. And I was just looking for this to come back down and test this level right around 40,000. I don't know if we could get 40,000 evens, but I think that was it. Did I miss the opportunity to close it? I don't know. We'll see. I was looking for just a retest, but I do see some consolidation right there that we just went right down, smacked 40,085, and then buyers stepped in quite a bit. And I think it's going to be best for me to trail this. I'm going to trail this. Let's see. I want to trail it pretty tight. We just broke down through that. I want to see continuation to the downside. Just a stop loss. Yeah, no take profit. If this thing wants to go, I'll let it go. Because if I would have had a take profit, my take profit would be at 40,000 right there. But I don't like that we bounced off this. I don't like that we bounced off this consolidation at 85s. Anyway, I'm going to watch this. Let's watch this, and I'll answer some questions. All right, let's get to some questions. What am I currently in? I answered that. We're seeing it right now on the screen. Tommy, how many points did you end up getting on the NQ short today? I think it was 80, no, maybe it was only 75 points on the NQ short today. It was in 100 points, but we trailed it. How do you manage risk? I mean, you're seeing it right now, right? I try and do it every single night. Whenever I'm in a trade, I talk about it, but my original stop loss is right above here. This is the pivot I'm looking at. And if we break above, of course, the short is invalid. And once I get into a trade, I like to trail it. I would much rather be a trailer in terms of, for example, if I'm going to hold this trade overnight, I would go to sleep and I'll let this trade run. I would keep my stop loss at a decent position, say right here, and I'll go to bed and I'll let this thing run overnight. And maybe before I even go to bed, if I see another area to move my stop loss, I will. And what I'm looking for is just price action, basic market structure. So if we do something like that, then I'll move my stop loss to there. And then I'll just trail this until I go to bed. Because once I go to bed, I don't trail it. I like to manually trail my stops. I don't like to automatically or have an automated trailing stop. 9 times out of 10, I like to just let the market do its thing and let it either hit my stop loss or hit the take profit. And so that way it's a lot easier for me to understand my statistics that way. Could you move your stop loss to break even? Yeah, I could. You know what? Right now I'm looking at off this little move right there, this move. And so I'm willing to risk $75 compared to 0. So that little move is worth $75. Most likely I'm going to get out of this before it gets there. We're going to watch this. I mean, you could see the DOM. We'll pull the DOM up. You can see the DOM. It's very low. Not a lot of liquidity. I mean, it's low volume, I guess, compared to the NASDAQ. We'll see this. Let's see if we could get another push lower, and I'll close it out. To be honest, everybody, I really wanted to get into 3 contracts, but it only gave me an opportunity to get into 1. I don't even know if we could see. I think it only gave, yeah. See, I got in right there. It only gave me a chance to get in 1. Sometimes the better trades, they don't last very long in terms of it. They don't give you that great of opportunity. I really wanted to get into 3 contracts. It's the typical thing that Hogue and I have been saying. Hogue's been telling me that's the case. Whenever you're in an amazing trade, you only have you never have enough contracts on, but then whenever you're in a bad trade, you always have too many. And what was this? This was a scalp? Oh yeah, that was my scalp from the other day. So there it is. I don't like to have this on there. Let's go save. Boom. All right, let's get to some questions. Yeah, 50 lots would have been amazing, right? Maybe 100 if I would have only sold 100 contracts. Ooh, here's an interesting question. How do I manage paying myself while growing a live account? My recommendation is when you are trading and you start to consistently make money, let's say, and then say you get into a live account. The question is, how do you consistently pay yourself while maintaining that account growth? Well, you have to really take into consideration what your goals are. This is a very in-depth conversation that I could probably have. Maybe I set this up for. Ooh, I think this is a good one for tomorrow. I'm gonna have Nick for a tick on with me tomorrow, and let's have that conversation. Let me just put a reminder here for me, because I think that's a very good conversation. 1 second. There we go. So for tomorrow, I'll have Nick for a tick on with me, and Nick for tick is probably one of the top traders that do that does take payouts consistently and grows his account. So I think tomorrow, tune in tomorrow for Nick for a tick and myself, and we could discuss that in a lot more in depth. Because for me to answer that right now, it would be doing it injustice for the time that needs to be spent. Yeah, I'm sorry. And Nick, I know Nick for a tick's not watching this. There you go. There we go. It's like, what? You just randomly messaged me and your show notes. We're good. But yeah, I think that's going to be a fun one to talk about tomorrow, because we all want to be talking about that once we get there. And that's a question that everybody does have, right? Is once you start to receive those payouts or withdrawals from your live account, then how do I take those payouts, and how do you keep growing your account balance? Or does your account balance stay at the same size? Or what are you going to be able to do if your account starts to, go into a drawdown, and then do you make that back up before you take a payout? There's a lot of questions that I get on a day-to-day basis that's usually around that same topic. And so, yeah, I think that would be good to talk about it tomorrow. Dakota, do you think we'll get a correction before elections, 5 to 10%? I don't know. I mean, the elections are coming up really close, and the markets are pretty dang bullish. Probably answer 100x low. Do you think it's possible to be consistent by trading every day? Do really market shows consistent patterns every day for you and for all of us? What's your opinion on it? Less is more. We'll review some trader statistics later on in this show. Right at 8 p.m., we see a spike in volatility. At 8 p.m., we see a spike in volatility, and typically that's around gold. Let's take a look at gold now. Here's the daily chart. Let me get it adjusted for everybody. We had a nice resistance here, and this is something we talked about for a little bit. Is this resistance? I don't know. However you want to draw this, is maybe we see some type of a pullback down towards 2650s. We see some type of a pullback that is very realistic. This is kind of a flagging pattern. You can see, gold has been doing this on this bullish trend. It's been very bullish for quite a while now. It's been going up and to the right. And so, yeah, do I see this breaking out? Sure. I do see gold continuing this bullish trend. There's no reason for me to assume that we wouldn't be trending. And I'm looking for gold to continue. However, until then, maybe we see more consolidation. I'm looking to see a little bit of a pullback in gold, to be honest. And if we zoom into an hourly chart, you guys can see that a little bit more clear. We actually did have that nice pullback down into this area last week. Coach Jay and I was talking about. This was the candle for when they announced it. The Fed here in the U.S. has announced that, 0.5 cut. And yeah, we rallied all the way up. We pulled back, we consolidated, found a bottom. And so, yeah, I'm looking for maybe a little bit of a deeper pullback. Maybe we could see, we're almost there. Maybe we could see these 26,500s come into play, and then look for a higher low. So here's a low, very similar to what I look at from those simplest standpoints. Here's a low. Right now we just put in a high, and now I'm going to be looking for a higher low, and then maybe look for that move and that continuation back up. We'll see. I would much rather be a seller up here than a buyer. However, it's hard to be a seller just because we are in a very strong bullish market in gold. I do see maybe if we can break below these 60s, maybe we can make a run down towards, 52. There's not a lot of room to the downside. I think there's more room to the upside if we do break out versus, selling off. Even though, if you are bearish, maybe you're looking for targets such as these lower, 47, 48, maybe. Maybe a short could be pretty decent the more I look at it. I don't know. We'll watch it. We are right at 8 p.m. Central. And let's take a look at this. Usually we see a spike in volatility. Let's see if we see that again tonight. Yeah, it's getting a little bit jumpy. Looks like we got down to 64, back up to 65. Let's take a look and see what Nikkei is doing. Nikkei is not really moving too much, still hanging around these 140s. Let's take a look back at gold, or not gold, crude. Crude is bouncing. Ooh, what a move on crude. $0.30 bounce, 20 cents, 25 cents. Hey Dakota, can you make a suggestion with Topstep X? I mean, you can. Everybody in here can make a suggestion Topstep X. You could go to this Trader Hub, and that's where you would go through and make suggestions. Let me make sure. Settings, TopstepTV. Oh, there I am. But no, it's the support. Sorry, it's not the Trader Hub. It's the support. This question mark with the support. You go through and you can make all the suggestions you want. If it's already been suggested, then just go in and just upvote it. And then you can see what's been planned, what's been completed. So anything in that you want to see in Topstep X, this is where it's going to be. This is where you can track everything. You can see tutorials. It's a beautiful help center. As you can see, I mean, Topstep X was just released this year. It's not even a year old, and the platform has grown absolutely. It's amazing. It's an amazing thing. It really is. Nathan G, you could try. I would need to be paid a lot of money to do that. Let's take a look at Nikkei. Starting to see a little bit more of a sell-off. So here's the pivot that I'm watching. So if we continue to sell off, then I'm gonna, like, maybe we could break down through. If we break down through this, then I would move my stop loss to there, right? So I want to continue to trail this. I'm gonna keep my stop loss at 0. Risk-free trade. Risk-free trade. We could watch this together. I'm not seeing anything else happen too much. And while we watch this, let's keep getting to some questions. Now remember, everybody, Brett Steenbarger's tomorrow at 11 a.m. I'm going to be on tomorrow during fast markets with my trading buddy Rips. We're going to trade, see if we could, make some money, see if I could get out of this difficult rut I am in my live account. But Brett Steenbarger is going to be on in 11 a.m. That's going to be fun. I'm going to stay for it. I won't stay on Topstep TV, but I'm going to stay to watch it. Woodshed Williams, I don't trade natural gas. I mean, I already looked through a lot of markets, and the less is more for me. I always tell traders, focus on maybe 1 or 2 markets, and then try and get consistent at that market. And then as you are gaining that consistency and that confidence, you can look to explore other markets. I think so. Natural gas nickname is the Widowmaker. I think so. I think I've heard that before. All right, come on. Let's see if we could push even further. Let's see if we could get to will we get to 40,000 evens? As soon as we get a break, I might just get out at the bid. We'll see. We'll see if we could get a continuation here. Do you ever take mental breaks from trading? I feel you're doing something live every day. I do take mental breaks from trading. For me, it's more of like the weekend. I don't even think about trading, to be honest. And then as soon as I'm done trading, I turn my computer off and I don't even think about it. So golf is something I enjoy doing. I used to box a lot. I mean a lot. I would be boxing all the time. What size do you risk? Okay, here's a good one. What would be your size and risk if you started a 50K combine today? I would be trading micros. If I started a 50K combine today, right now, I would be trading micros and I would be risking like $125 per trade. That's me just taking a random, that's not advice, but that's a good estimate about where I would trade. 100% it would be micros. Antifa, am I buff? I used to be. I used to be pretty tight. Not cardio. I wouldn't say 1 MNQ. Like 1 to 5 MNQ micros. I mean, it doesn't have to be the NASDAQ micros. It could be ES, but micros for sure is what I would be trading instead of minis. Motivate. It really depends. I mean, if I was brand new, okay, let's get this straight. If I was completely brand new to trading and I want to become consistent and profitable the fastest way possible, I would start with the cheapest way. I would start with a 50K combine. That's the cheapest. And I will trade 1 micro. And I would trade 1 micro until I am consistent and I have that confidence that I can place the trade and execute without my emotions getting into my trading. The next thing I would do is I would trade 2 micros and I would try and do exactly the same thing. And I would keep doing that. And I would honestly say it would take me 6 months until I felt confident to say, okay, I can do this. Let's go through and, maybe I don't even pass a combine in 6 months. You never know. And I'm going to just 1 to 2. And then I'll do 3 micros. And then I would build 4 micros. And then 5 micros. But I will only do that if I could prove to myself that I can do the exact same thing. Not thinking about the dollar amounts. Thinking about the tick value. Like, I'm looking to make 10 ticks a day. Is that the NASDAQ or the ES or whatever? Maybe I'm looking at the NASDAQ, right? So here's the NASDAQ, and I say to myself, I want to make 10 ticks per day on average with 1 micro. Okay, that's my goal. And if I could do that every single day on average, some days are going to be winners, some days are going to be losers, then I'm going to switch it to 2 micros. And I'm going to continue to average and try and average 10 ticks per day. 10 ticks is not hard, or not ticks, points. Sorry, 10 points, which is 40 ticks. 10 points on the NASDAQ is not hard at all. Trust me. Look, the NASDAQ right there just sold off like 30 points in a minute. So 10 points on the NASDAQ is not very hard. And once you get consistent over a period of not days, not weeks, but months, right? Months. If you can average 10 points a day on the NASDAQ in months, and then you can transition from 1 micro to 2 micros and do the same thing, and then continue to do that. The next thing you'll know is maybe you start to do 1 mini. Now you're trading 1 mini, 10 points a day, doing the same exact thing, same exact process, same exact execution, same, routine, day in, day out, and it's very boring. And I know a lot of traders might not like that, but it's freaking boring. Doing the same thing over and over again for a long period of time can be very boring. Looking for 10 points a day on average on the NASDAQ, and then you do 1 mini, that's $200, right? $200 a day on average, because some days are going to be winners, some days are going to be losers. You're not going to win every single day, is life-changing. And it's the same process. Next thing you want to do is 2 minis, right? 10 points a day on 2 minis. That's $400. And then you continue to do that. It's the same exact process. No matter how you look at it, it's the same process. Yeah, so that would be my route. Now, I know everybody is different, whether you want to trade the NASDAQ, maybe you want to trade the ES, maybe you want to start with a 150K combine, right? So you could choose where you want to start. But if I was brand new and if I was to start all over again, not knowing anything, that's how I would do it, because I'm risking the least amount of capital. Like, right, if it's coming from my personal job, if it's coming from, my own personal money, I'm paying the least amount and getting the most reward and the most, I guess, experience and education. And then it's just outstanding the amount of value that TopstepTV is providing. You really don't need to pay for a course because there's so much stuff on the internet anymore that paying for a course is completely irrelevant and just absurd. Why you would ever pay any money for a course when everything is on the internet for free, right? You can't find my channel in Discord. Well, I mean, I haven't been as active. Let's see if I could find it. I'm going to try and be more active on the Topstep Discord. It's not a promise. I'm going to try and make that effort. There you go. Thank you, Andrew. Andrew's in the chat. But I'm also going to try and make that same effort on on Twitter, on X. So I'm going to try and do both. I'm going to continue to try and be more active on the Discord, and I'm going to try and be more active on on Twitter. I still don't know how to share my Twitter. Or X, the X. Anybody? Yeah, I had that issue before. Oh, here we go. I found it out. So those two places where I'm going to try and be the most active, and then I'm going to do private group coaching, and I've been teasing that. Everybody in here, please join me each night for slow markets, is because I'm going to be giving out more details of, when I'm going to do that private coaching. It's not going to be VIP. It's going to be a much smaller group, and I've been willing to dedicate some of that in terms of time. So there we go. Richard Harris, Dakota, no chat mods tonight. I mean, do you not see us in the chat? Anyway, yeah. I mean, that VIP for Coach Hoop is amazing. That's officially what? That's how many? How many VIP groups do we have at Topstep now? We have officially 4, right? We have the Lunatics, the Market Makers, Stop Hunters, Coach Jay. We have Coach Ray and Vince, and now Hoop. So 4 groups. It's coming together. It really is coming together. I'm excited to see this in a true legit league, right? 4 with 50 people each. 1 more later this week. So is that, Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong. So it's going to be 5 VIP groups with 50 people each. And I think this is turning out to be an amazing structure. I'm excited to see how that's going to play out. The VIP has been second to none, and it's free. Once again, you don't need to pay for courses. You don't need to pay. It's an amazing thing. I wish I had when I was growing up and when I was learning. J Trades, stick with it. You're gonna eventually get one. I'm no guaranteed, but I'm pretty sure. People are here that are consistent, are in there. I don't know. I don't know, Rusty. Like I said, I don't know the details. This market's slow. Do you see the whole title of the class and my live stream is called Slow Markets, and it's called Slow Markets for a reason. Oil's starting to sell off. Yeah, this is scary for anybody buying oil. You get a good risk reward buying crude oil, but we could drop $1 at any moment, especially when it's headlines that control oil. We could go up in like $2 or $3 and sell off. Right now we went from 74 down to 71.40, so $3 so fast. And now, the next thing, maybe we look away and come back and crude oil might be down to $70 a barrel. You just never know, especially after a headline event like that. It could trap a lot of buyers. Trust me. I mean, you'd be surprised on how many people I see come in and say, I'd like to long. I want to long crude oil long. I mean, I'm one of them. Longs and crude oil look attractive, but I have to wait and see better market structure, especially when we're in a situation after this where we could have just a continuation down to $70 a barrel. $70 a barrel is looking more and more attractive. Maybe we see a run to 71, a liquidity run. I like to see those liquidity runs in crude oil. It just means a run for stop losses. Maybe everyone who is long here has stop losses just below, and it runs those. And then better market structure. I mean, it's good risk reward. If you get in long, say right now, then you can have a decent stop loss. And if we do get a bounce, you could see where the risk reward could be pretty good. But I would say this is on the lower probability, just because that headline risk. Nikkei has not moved. Japanese market. Let's see what's the other markets doing. We'll make another run around, and then while I am making this, we'll finish with some trader statistics here in a moment. So if you would like me to review your statistics, post them in the Topstep Discord in my channel, and post some details, okay? So don't just post your stats. Maybe provide some context. So provide some details like, this is what I'm struggling with. This is what I'd want you to help me with, or whatever it is, rather than only your statistics. So do that for me, please, and then we can review them a little bit better. Thank you, Andrew. Let's get to a few more questions while everyone's doing that. Dakota, the other day you mentioned the idea of a crystal ball and went over how difficult it is to time the trades despite knowing where the prices is likely to go. Do you use neutral nets? What is a neutral net? What is your definition of a neutral net? I'm curious. Can you comment on the NASDAQ? I did at the start of class. I'm always looking and talking about the NASDAQ, and obviously bullish, right? Every single night I do start out with talking about the NASDAQ. So being on time is very important if you want to hear everything in the class, right? So if you're tuning in, please, these are all recorded on YouTube. You could always rewatch it and review anything that I have said if you missed it, if you missed part of it, if you want to rewatch it. So there you go. That's fine. That's the beauty about it being recorded. If you're running late, you could always tune in and catch up, right? Neutral network, neural network. Neural nets, neutral nets, neural nets. Yeah, help me understand that question. If whoever chopped cheese, maybe if you could explain a little bit more in detail. But here is the idea. This is what I was talking about. And this is what this person is referencing is if we had a crystal ball, I'm going to go to an hourly chart. Or let's just go to a daily chart because I think this is important. If we had a crystal ball and we have the crystal ball and it says tomorrow the NASDAQ is going to be at 20,800 at the close, right? So if the crystal ball says tomorrow the NASDAQ is going to be at 20,800, it's still going to be very hard to trade. It's going to make trading easier for us because we're going to be trading with a directional bias. However, anything can happen, right? If we can't just come in and just buy right now, because if we go full contracts, buy right here, right now, 617, we could still hit our daily loss limit, get stopped out, and blow our account, because the NASDAQ very well could come down to 20,500, blow your account, hit your daily loss limit, and then the last 10 minutes of the day, we rally 300 points. Like that NASDAQ has done that before. Last 10 minutes of the day, we just jump straight up and we finish at 20,800. So maybe it looks like this to get there. So that's one option, right? Maybe it looks like something where we go up, we're almost there, and then you just buy a whole bunch of contracts, and then it's like, nope. Then we sell off all the way down to 500, and then it's like, nope, we go all the way back, and then we finish at 800. So that's all I'm saying, is that even if we knew exactly where the NASDAQ will finish at 20,800, this is just an example, the way we trade that and the timing is much, much more important, because we could take so many different paths before we get there. And that's what makes trading hard. I mean, I'm not talking about options. Options is a complete different story. But yeah, it's easy to say, NASDAQ's going to hit to 20,800. Sometimes I find myself where I could call the market relatively easy, but then trading it is the hard part, because we don't know exactly what's the position size, where it's going to go, when it's going to move, how deep the pullback is going to be, when it's going to reverse, when it's going to get there. Very much like lately. We've seen this as consolidation. I'm a bullish trader. I'm a perma bull. I believe that it's easier for me to buy the markets. And just because I was bullish, I didn't catch this entire move. And you'd think that somebody who's a perma bull or a bullish trader would be able to catch this move. I did not. It's hard to catch this entire move. I actually lost money freaking shorting it like an idiot. On my live account, but then I made money in my XFAs, trading it. So it's very hard. Trading is difficult when it comes. It's the hardest way to make easy money. I am having issues seeing play coming back to my entries. I tend to love my stop to break even, like I did in that short you took with the house account. I'm not sure what you mean trading like a bot. Like you said, consistency is very important. Yeah, consistency is above everything else. Consistency and risk management go hand in hand. Nikkei still not really doing much. Let's see if this is going to be the pivot I can move my stop loss to. I want to move my stop somewhere. Will it be 195, maybe 200? I don't know. Maybe this thing just comes up and stops me out. We're going to 580. Thank me later. You look like you. I need to not read chat too fast. Price loves to come back to your entry and dance around. Yeah, sometimes that's how it is. But then it loves to run your stops, right? Dakota, how's your win rate and risk reward ratio? My win rate is like 26% right now. It's not good. I'm only winning 26% of my trades, but my risk reward is about 3-to-1, 4-to-1. And it depends on the day. And I'm looking at a longer term. I'm looking at a sample size, the size of like a year, and not just a day. Any week it could change. Any week I could have a higher or lower, depending on how the markets are doing. Okay, here's a good one. Pinch says, I'm going to keep an eye on this trade. We'll go back and forth, and I'm also going to review some trader statistics here. Give me just a second. Okay, here we go. So let's review a few trader statistics. We'll keep an eye on the markets, and then I'll continue to answer questions. We do have 30 minutes left, 35 minutes left of class. And while I do this, everybody, please, once again, like I said, I am continuing to try and find ways to improve my slow markets class. If you have any suggestions, please feel free to put them in. I don't mind if it's good or bad. Maybe you're like, hey, Coach Dakota, your trading is horrible. Maybe trade less and talk more about this. Or, hey, don't talk about this. Like anything. And I'm purely open to anything that you guys have in terms of improving slow markets. So that being said, let's review a few trader statistics while keeping an eye on this trade. First one I see is pinch. Let's pull this up. And this is your 5th XFA. You keep blowing them. I keep moving my stops when I am losing trades. I honestly don't know why I do this. So you keep moving stops, meaning are you moving stops as the trade's going against you? For example, say the market starts to go against me, and then I decide to move my stop here, and then the market keeps going against me, then I move my stop here, and then it keeps going against me, and then I move my stop here, thinking that eventually it's going to turn around and go in my favor. And the next thing you know, you hit your daily loss limit. Is that what you're referring to? Where you have a hard time with just keeping your stop where it's at? Because I could see that. That's something I see a lot of traders do as well. Yes. You have to have your stop loss at a point for a reason, right? Now I'm seeing everybody saying yes. Your stop loss needs to be based on something, okay? It needs to be based off of a point in invalidation. So for me, if we break up above this, this is resistance. I'm seeing this as strong resistance. There's an argument to be made here. Okay, so maybe right there, because I do see I have a pivot point there, and we do have a pivot point here. So this can be valid. And what this is saying, regardless of how I feel, regardless of how my emotions are, that is my current point of invalidation. So if the market goes up, then this trade is no longer valid. I am completely wrong. I get stopped out, I take a loss. Now, if the market gets up there and then, I think to myself, it's like, oh, you know what? Well, I'm going to give it a little bit more room, and that's going to be my point of invalidation. Next thing you know, then you're like, okay, this is back to my original trade idea. My original stop was right here. That's my point of a trade invalidation. So now you're expanding your risk on a trade that, is no longer valid. And trying to think of a good way to explain this. It's a bad habit. Just don't do it. I don't know how else I could explain. I run myself into that situation too. You move your stop loss based on a specific set of rules, and that's where consistency comes from. That's discipline. That's consistency. Anything else is just plain wrong. It really is. If you're moving your stop loss without a valid reason, you cannot write it down. And if you cannot measure and tell yourself and explain to somebody why you moved your stop loss, then you shouldn't move your stop loss. And, for me, it's helped me a little bit. I'm in front of thousands of traders every single day. And, sometimes I do that, right? Like, okay, no, I'm going to move my stop loss there, but then I try and close it out early. But if you cannot explain why you have your stop loss where you do, then you need to rethink what you're doing, right? You need to rethink, is this truly my strategy? Am I truly following my plan, or is this emotional decision? Am I scared to take a loss? Am I thinking that the market's, still valid? Because you know what? It's easier to take the loss. If this market goes up, it's so much easier and so much cheaper to just take the loss. And then if it sets up again, just re-enter, right? I take the loss here. Dang, scratch, $0. Or scratch, minus $70, whatever. And then if we start to see the same trade setup, maybe you see a reversal, you're like, oh, you guys see me do this a lot, right? Like, oh, it's setting up again. Boom, enter into the short. I mean, there's nothing wrong with re-entering into a trade if it's still valid. And then you could adjust your risk parameters from there. So that's what I found. I see a lot of traders doing. I find myself doing that sometimes, where you just maybe it's an ego thing, it's an emotional thing. You just do not want to take the loss, and you'd much rather keep moving your stop rather than taking your loss. The thing is, if you do move your stop loss away and it works out, ooh, that's dangerous, right? If we move our stop loss away as the market's going against us, and then the market just sells off, then you think to yourself, oh, I could do that again. It's okay to do that. And then you're kind of having a positive reinforcement on a bad habit, which is not good. The market's good at trying to keep your bad habits into place. It really is. Very rarely does that happen. Will I move my stop loss to the next pivot? So for me, here's a good talking point. That is the next pivot so far. I want to see the market break through before I move my stop loss. If the market could break through 40,085, then yes, I'll move my stop loss there. But until now, I think I'm okay with having my stop loss up here. I'm going to watch this market. Sometimes if we just consolidate, for example, if we keep consolidating here, then yeah, you know what? I'll be like, okay, now I'm going to move my stop loss, lock in $300. But until then, I'm just going to leave it at a risk-free break-even trade. I'm still debating between, this is what I'm thinking. This is where I struggle with a little bit, is kind of with this question is, do I keep my stop loss at 70 here because of this pivot? Do I move it there? Or do I move it here? So I don't know. So 25 plus $25, do I keep it at break even or do I keep it right there? And all three can be valid. All three is valid for me. So I see this pivot at 265, 1, 2, 3. I could understand the break even, but then I also understand one even a little bit lower. So because there's, you can see there's resistance right there at 240, 240, 240. So all three of those can very well be valid. And the next thing I do is I think to myself, well, is the difference between that and where my stop would be, that's $100. So then I also think to myself, is $100 worth of risk worth the additional probabilities? And I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. This extra $100 worth of risk is worth the additional probability because I'm pretty sure I'm going to close this out a lot sooner, just depending on how this market's reacting right down here. Let's take a look at these other markets, and then we'll go back to the statistics. Gold's not really doing much. What about crude oil? Crude oil's testing these lows. The NASDAQ is finding some buyers in there. All right, let's move on to those stats now. Back to what I was doing, reviewing these stats while my mouth is extremely dry. The Nikkei is not that bad. Come on. Yeah, it's a lot like poker, right? Probabilities, risk reward, all that fun stuff. And doing those calculations and having a positive expectancy. Not gambling, but calculated risk for rewards for a positive expectancy. Going back to this XFA. So this is an XFA. You can receive a payout in an XFA, express funded account. So there's a lot more pressure on traders in these XFAs. Going through this, you're up $1,300. This is the same trader who was talking about, yeah, I have a tendency of moving my stop loss. I've blown some XFA accounts before. Yeah, struggling with the risk reward, right? You have a good trade win percentage. That's really good. But risk reward is under 1-to-1. But this is more important. Profit factor is obviously more important than any of these two. You can see it looks like you had that is, you can kind of see it here. So you have 8 trades lasting 4 hours and up, and 62% of them are red. And I think this is kind of what you're seeing is you have that tendency of moving your stop loss, and this is how you recognize it. You could see that you're not cutting your losses short. I mean, you're letting your winners run, which is also good. The question is, are they turning around and coming back and being winners? But look at these 4-hour trades going against you. That's hard to take. I like it's in micros. I mean, that's interesting. You kind of just grinded your way out of that hole. That's a cool feature. I love seeing your daily equity curve, so you can see your equity curve for the day. I like that. This is really informative just to see how a trader's trading, and then like you have that happen, and then you grinded your way out of it. Let's go through this. Holding on to losses. Yeah, I could see that. Trading micros, so that's a good thing. Is there a reason behind your change in size? This would be the question that you'd want to ask yourself. Why are you doing 3, 3, 1, 1, 1, 1, 9, 5, 15, 15, 5, 1, 1, 1, and the rest are these ones, 2. So I'm always for consistency in sizing. Like, what is your reason behind changing your sizes? Is it your setup? Is it your risk? What is that? Whatever you do in the market, you need to have an answer for, and you need to have a reason behind this. Like, why was this trade 15 contracts? Why was this one 10? Why was that one 5? Why was these ones 1 and 2? And that, maybe it's scaling in, scaling out. Yeah, see, look, you didn't trade 15 contracts on here in one clip. 15, 10, 10, 10. This is nice, consistent, random number generator. But yeah, maybe this is a good point. You have to have a reason why you're doing something in the market. If you cannot measure it, you cannot improve it. So good start. Like I say, I like that you're trading micros. You're only day 3 in this XFA. Slow down. You don't need to make and lose a lot of money really quick. Just try and stay consistent. And I do like the average trade duration. Keep going. Dakota, where can you find a strategy playbook? Tune in. I go over how I trade almost every night. When I do get some more time, I'm going to be trying to get some videos together that I've promised everybody is that I will get some videos together and post them on how I trade. But the thing is, I could tell everybody an amazing strategy and exactly how to execute it, and 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, traders are going to trade it completely different. Each completely different. Watching this Nikkei pull back against me. Is NASDAQ rallying too? NASDAQ's catching a little bit of a bid. Let's see if we're going to hold these 200s and go back down. I might just get out of this trade. I'm going to go through and look for some more stats. How can I confirm on the 3-bar reversal? Google it. I've probably explained the 3-bar reversal so many times each and every night. I know traders who trade it their own way, but a 3-bar reversal is, one more time, here we go, 3-bar reversal right here, right there. So this is a 3-bar reversal. We have 1, 2, and this is the main reversal bar, and some traders like to wait until it breaks the top of that previous bar. Some traders like to wait until the next bar closes above it, but yep, you guys know that is a 3-bar reversal. That needs to be my priority, is a video of that. Anyway. Okay, a few more questions and then a few more statistics. Okay, here we go. I'm really struggling with money management and emotions. Related to money management, you spoke already. But related to emotions, any recommendations, please? Best recommendation. Tomorrow, we are having the man himself, Brett Steenbarger, on the Day Show at 11 a.m. Trader psychology is the most important thing for me in my trading, right next to risk management. And I would say tune into that. I try and talk about the mental side of things as well. So, I mean, that's all I really can say about it without spending another hour talking about it. Smaller size is usually better if you're struggling with your emotions. Trade smaller is 9 times out of 10 the better decision. Yeah, smaller contract size. When do I know I should increase my lot size? I am making $55 every session from 1.5 years. Is that enough of consistency? If you're making $55 consistently for over a year and a half, then yeah, I would say that is you're at that point where you can increase your size. Yeah, and it doesn't matter whether you're making $100 every day consistently or if you're making $50 a day consistently. It's the consistently that's the most important. I've talked to doctors who they play with. Now, if you want to talk about gambling, I mean, I've worked with doctors with a lot of money and some business owners with a lot of money, and they're learning how to trade, throwing, $100,000 for your first account ever. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. I might just get out of this one. I'll take this loss. Is it a loss? I don't know. So anyway, there's this one guy. I'm not gonna. I'll never say names, but come on, let me get out of this one. Your very first trading account to be $100,000, and you're learning for the first time. It's crazy. That it was crazy to think that, and I'm just like, you need to start out smaller. Maybe try with a $20,000 account. He's like, no, yeah, it's not. I'm gonna wait. I'll just wait. He's like, no, I'm just, it's not worth it for me. And I was just I was at a loss for words when he's just like, it's not worth it for me. $20,000. It's like, no, that's not enough. It's not worth it for me. My time, I have more value in my time than that. I didn't really know what to say. I was like, well, you're not going to be risking that much. Like, you're like, understand that you're not going to be risking. He didn't lose the full $100,000, thankfully. But he wanted to trading minimum. Now I'm saying minimum. He wanted 10 minis. He's like, yeah, my smallest trade I want to be placing is about 10 minis. And I'm like, are you looking to scalp, getting in and out? He's like, no, I want to, hold it for a few days. When the market sells off, I want to buy it. When it rallies, I want to sell it. I want to, swing trade kind of with 10 minis on his $100,000 account. I'm like, have you ever traded before? He's like, no, I usually let my investment advisor handle my funds and blah, blah, blah. And he wanted to get into trading himself because he's got a little bit more free time. And yeah, everybody in here could probably imagine how that went, right? Your very first trading account, you're learning for the very first time. You throw $100,000 into the market, and man, like, that was just so eye-opening to me. And that kind of gave me an idea of, like, there's probably a lot of traders in the chat that in a similar mindset, not $100,000, but maybe there's a lot of traders here in the chat that are thinking, $1,000, $5,000, maybe $10,000, whatever that ratio is for you, where you want to open your first live account. And a demo account is not satisfactory enough for for you to sit in front of a computer screen and trade. And that is where the trading psychology really starts, is you have to be okay and you have to have that satisfaction of trading a demo account and trading a simulated account until you are consistent enough to eventually start to make money in a live account. Too many times I have seen that, not to that level, but it's at our own level, is where it's not satisfactory enough. Like, how do you get yourself to be disciplined? How do you get yourself to have that consistency to trade a combine or a simulated account? When you make $1,000, you're not really putting it in your pocket, and to dedicate your own time to doing that. That is hard. That is one of the harder parts of the psychological thing I've faced. I've seen traders facing it, and I don't have a good answer for you guys. I really don't. You really just have to think of a demo account as live money. Whatever you need to do, treat it like it's live money, regardless of whether it's not. Find some way to follow the process, get that consistency, and just pretend it's live money. I don't have a good answer. Maybe we could ask Brett Steenbarger tomorrow, because I feel like that'd be a great question for him. Okay, let's go through. I'm trying to find some more statistics. Let's see. J Trades, my first account, I put 10,000 in an account and lost it. Absolutely devastating. Yeah, that's it. Because then you get a sour taste, and then you either quit trading, you give up, you think it's a scam or a rig, and it's not for you. Yeah, it's not fun. Yeah, there you go, Edgar. I make $20,000 a month in my day job. $200 a day is hard to get out of bed for. Yeah. Everyone has their own reasons, and it's hard, right? I mean, you see traders on YouTube, you see traders on social media who are sending screenshots of thousands of dollars, and 20 minutes I made $100,000. That's what gets you into trading? Well, half of that's just complete BS and crap. The other half is you don't see what goes on behind the scenes to really get to that level. Now, that being said, trader statistics. Let's take a look at the next one. Oh, that's not it. Let's go through the next. Is this it? No. There it is. All right, here we go. Next, this is an XFA started in September. Let's get through here. Trading is my job. This is my job. I do trade. It's one of my main sources of income. But I do supply chain. I did a lot of work in supply chain, actually. Now, that being said, here's an XFA express funded account. You can receive a payout. I'm not sure if this is a payout or a losing day, but good risk reward. 1-to-1 risk reward, 72% winning trades. That leads to a very nice looking profit factor. Let's scroll through this, just scrolling through it. So looking at that, this looks like it was a payout, right? Yep, that was a payout. So great work with that. Looked like you took your first payout. Nice. Did you take out half? Yeah, took out just about half. Interesting statistics. Looks like you're a scalper, maybe. Average hold time 2 minutes. I like your journaling. I'm curious on what this journal entry is. I did get stopped out. Minus $100. Minus $100. There's slippage. See the difference on 75 plus commissions. So I'm curious on what this journal entry is, where you didn't trade. I wonder if it was because of news you didn't decide to trade. But I like it. I like it a lot. One trade a day. Looks pretty dang consistent. It looks like you took a few trades on. Interesting. So Quality over quantity. Quality over quantity is a beautiful thing, and this shows it. You don't have to place a lot of trades. 1, 2, 3 trades a day is really all you need. But I like that you're journaling. That's one of my favorite parts. All green days, that's interesting. I wonder what it's going to look like if there is a red day. Interesting. Love that. I mean, this is a good example. You don't need to trade a lot. You don't need big P&Ls, and it adds up. Taking your first payout. I believe that's a payout. So great work. Congratulations. Love seeing that. Love seeing that. Yeah, market's rallying. It just ripped. Yeah, with hindsight, I think having my stop loss there would have been a better. I debated it. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? That would have been the better stop loss instead of waiting for it to stop me out. Dang, that's okay. That's okay. Next. Seems to take trades early. NASDAQ not following suit. Let's see. Let's take a look at crude oil. Crude oil still pushing the lows. Gold. Gold's not doing anything. Looks like Nikkei is the market that's moving. New session highs. We just broke 2 new highs. Man, that was a buy the dip, huh? I was really thinking we could even have a little bit more of a pullback before we reversed. We didn't quite get to 40,000. It was this consolidation. We got to it. We touched it for a moment and then completely rallied. That's from 40,001. That's a pretty nice sized rally. Time to long the Nikkei. I mean, let's take a look at the size of this move. 0.65%. That's a good move. But I'm not seeing the rest of the markets follow suit. I mean, NASDAQ's rallying a little bit from these lows. Gold and these other markets aren't really doing anything either. Crude oil is the one in question. Crude oil is the curious on whether we just sell through or we I mean, this is a decision zone for crude for sure. This is definitely a decision zone where we either bounce or we just sell off. I mean, that's how it is with every market, right? We either go up or we go down. But this is a decision zone. It's just at an area of support and resistance. Where did we open? We did open up. So we did open right here tonight. So this happened before market stopped trading. This happened 35 minutes after the close. And then we gapped down and we rallied up a little bit. When am I starting my challenge? What challenge? Can we trade or follow you? I don't want traders following me. I'll never recommend traders to follow my trades to the T. It's not a signals class. Oh, for a million. Okay. Oh, I've started it. That's why I've posted my link on Twitter, and I'm going to be more active on Discord. So I've started it already, and I'm going to, slowly start to be more active. So I've already started it. Today during the New York session, I lost 3,000 in my live account, but then I made 22,000 in my XFAs. What's my Twitter? Twitter, Topstep X, or not Topstep X, X, Topstep. It's still the same. It's the Coach DBA one right there. I'm going to try and post what I can in that. I'm still just not very active. That and then Topstep's Discord in my channel. So we'll see. Yeah, so what the challenge is, in case anybody is asking, or if anybody is new here, it's not really a challenge. It's more of just a goal. My goal is by end of year next year. So I still have 5 quarters. 5 quarters. I'm gonna try and go for a $1 million live account balance. So a $1 million live account balance is what my goal is by the end of next year, and that's with just this prop firm, just with a prop account, Topstep, Topstep X. I'm never going to be saying anything with what goes on in my personal accounts, but just with this. You don't need to take larger trades. You honestly don't. You guys will, I don't know if you guys will believe this. You only need 1 to 3 contracts, and you could probably make $1 million in a year with good trading. You don't need to be throwing on 30 contracts, 50 contracts to do that. Challenge is more marketable. Well, it's not. It's less about marketing and advertising, and it's more about just, hey, I'm going to do this. And I'm not a marketer. I'm not I'm not a good influencer or a YouTuber. Look at that just run on the Nikkei. Interesting. How many points is 1 million? Well, it depends on your contract size. You could do the math. It's $20 per point on the NASDAQ. Don't be doing that kind of a math. That's not the right math to be doing. Minis. Yeah, just consistency. I just want to show maybe what can be done with a prop account. Yeah, keeping track of money and a goal. It's a goal, and we'll go through it, and I'll continue to try and update and answer questions and all of that fun stuff. So we'll see how it goes. Do it in micros? That's way too hard on micros. Too much commissions. Yeah, 1 to 3 contracts in minis is all you really need. And it's about consistency. And if I don't get it, oh well. I mean, that's not a big deal if I don't get the goal, because I could always extend it, right? And just because you don't get a goal doesn't mean that you quit. And realistically, what I could see is maybe I get to like 750,000, and then I'm like, okay, well, let's extend this out, and then let's make it $1 million goal by in the next quarter or two. And then having that realistic, and maybe I could even, and what's probably going to happen is halfway through next year, I'll update it. We could see where the consistency is. We could update it. We could say, okay, based off the last 6 months, this is more realistic. Or, I'm on the path to do this amount. I mean, $1 million is just a number, a nice round number. And it's realistic. It's a goal. I've made, I'm at about, I don't even know. I've withdrew 186,000, and I have 160,000 now. So I'm at about just over 300,000 this year. Close to 400,000? Close to 400,000 this year. So I've done 400,000 this year. Pretty close. So that's realistic. And this year was a very, very rough year for me. I'm not seeing anything for the rest of the night. Yeah, look, Nikkei went up. We touched 375, and we sold off. Just chop. Not during. I mean, you can look at the end of the day though, but not during. I thought you aren't supposed to make earnings representative. I'm a partner, Justin Brown. I am a trader. and I am coaching as a partner. I'm not an employee. Just like you see any other YouTuber. Yeah. Trading comes first for me, man. Always, 100%. Trading is one of my main sources of income, if not the main source of income, outside of transportation and supply chain that I also do as well. I mean, this is what I do. I do options. I do a lot of actual stock market investments, future trading. I have only been doing here at Topstep. Partner DB. Yeah. 400, no, with 26% win percent. Yeah, I've made about, it's less than 400. I think it's like 375,000 for this year. And it's been around a 30% win percentage. These are fun questions. These are interesting questions, everybody. But need to do more due diligence on that. I'm not sure. Trading since when? I'm counting since the beginning of this year. I'm doing a year to date. I've tried crypto. Crypto's just not for me right now. What is supply chain? It's products that are manufactured and moved around the world. Up to 340K, by the way. What do you mean, John Meyer? Is that what mine is? Maybe I'm at 348. Am I at 348? Let's see. Is it bad that I don't know? I am at 346 is my year to date at this Topstep account. 346 is my year to date. Oh, I was closer to 400 before I had a drawdown for the past few weeks. How much have I made just off futures? I mean, that's all I'm going to be giving away. I'm only going to be giving details on the stuff that I do here at Topstep. John Newat. We're at the end of class. All right. I think that's all I'm going to be giving in terms of details, because we could start going down rabbit hole after rabbit hole of what I do outside of trading, what I'm doing at this. But yeah, manufacturing of goods and goods, not services, in different various countries around the world, and then handling the supply chain from start to finish. That's the company that I do some contract work for. Everyone's nosy, right? That's okay. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with asking questions. Look, Nikkei pulled back for a minute and pushing highs of days. All right, guys. I think that's it. That's where I'm going to end it. Remember, Brett Steenbarger, tomorrow morning, I will also be on during fast markets with rips. We're going to trade. We're going to see how this market is going to be reacting. Nikkei, the Japanese market, is pushing higher. Crude oil has been selling off. And yeah, even though there's no news, and even though it was a holiday today, the markets are volatile, and there's always going to be opportunities. And I mean, we have Dee, who's live during the London session, and she's been having fun. I guarantee that, with the volatility that's been happening. Until then, take care, and I will see everybody bright and early tomorrow morning, if not tomorrow night. Take care.